Hello and welcome to my new channel, Journal Breeze. This is Kimberly and I am so happy that you came by to visit with me today. It's my premiere on YouTube. And I promised my Instagram followers that I would do a tutorial of their choice if they subscribed to my station when I showed this trifold. And there was a great response, and so that is what I am going to do for you today on my first official Journal Breeze YouTube tutorial. I want to warn you, this is a bit of a tough one. There's fussy cutting and a little bit of precision. Not everything I make is like that, so I've made this one a few different times. And I've come up with a really easy way, relatively, to put this together. And it's also faster than the original one I did. So this was my prototype originally. And of course I made it without thinking at all about doing a YouTube or how I did anything or what anything measured. Nothing like that, because normally I don't do any measurements. I don't really look at things from that angle. But I guess I'm going to have to now that I'm going to be doing YouTube videos. So I'll give you a brief look over the original, and then I'll show you the one that we're going to make today. So this is cut out and added. It opens up. I added this down here and lace. And then this is the inside. This woman is added, and you can see the sparkly netting that I put over this rose that I added. And there's a couple of tags up here. These are all, this is the design team project as well as everything else for the paper Cameo. And it uses many of her kits because they do tend to be interchangeable, which I think is really great. And they're stunning. Oh my gosh, they're so stunning. The colors are exquisite. She really makes them crystal clear and does a beautiful, beautiful job. So everything I've used is from the paper Cameo on Etsy. And then the center, as you can see, you have this heart here, and then it goes over here, and it goes over here. So all in all, you get this sense of a great big heart in the middle of this trifold. And that was what I was going for. And the center tag I had some fun with. Personally, I felt that that was a little bit too busy, and you might love it. So I put a plain tag and then decorated it. Or you can have this beautiful lace netting digi that she has, and then put a more decorative tag on top of that. It's really up to you. So that was my first attempt. And I really loved it. I added butterflies to the back. And all in all, I think it turned out great. But it's gotten better. Yes, indeed. At least in my opinion, it's gotten better. So this is the newer version. On this one, I put the sparkly netting on the cover. And I added a wider lace. This lace was about 1/2 inch, and this lace is about 1 inch. And I think by putting the sparkly fabric in the circle, it makes it really clear that the circle isn't printed on the paper, but that it was actually added. This one opens up to a cameo. This one opened up to this woman. And I added a gold circle here, and I added a gold heart with diamonds here. I added a pocket on this fold and 3 fabulous tags. I decorated the pocket a little bit with a wax seal. Put a same lace on. And then inside, I netted this flower with a non-sparkly net, which I really love. I have 2 little tags that I added little faux wax to the top. And in the center, I added a short tag which picks up on the pearls there, and then this longer beautiful tag. Oh my gosh. And this tag is so gorgeous, I didn't feel that it needed the additional small tags. So I'll leave that up to you, which you prefer to do. Having the small tags put on with an eyelet, or having it plain. It would depend which of the many beautiful tags are in the kit that that you would probably make that decision. Okay? All right. Oh, and then this goes down here. Okay. So I'm going to go over with you each of these pieces so that you can find them, because as I say, they're from many different kits. All right. So for starters, the cover is this page, which is in Floral Affair. And this is the circle that we cut out. So if you do not use this paper, then what's important is that you choose a paper where you can cut out a circle. Maybe I should tell you this size. I'll just tell you this one thing here. So it's 2 3/4 by about 1 7/8. Okay, so a circle about that size is what I'm, or oval, and this becomes the front, and this folds in and goes like that. All right. So on the inside, we have another paper by Floral Affair. And this one has to have this oval up here. And that's because I have this tag. I cut it down so it fits into that oval perfectly. I love this French decor. That's one of my very favorite accoutrements, actually. And this is the frame that was so popular in the neoclassical period, and I just love that period so much. So I wanted to make the tag fit into that. So if you're going to use another paper, think about that as well. That you want to have something on the design you pick that you can butt your tag against, okay? Just a sense of it is my recommendation. And notice that both of these papers are horizontal. This is horizontal. This is horizontal. I mean, they're actually printed vertically because the writing is, but they work out horizontally just perfect. All right? So that's what you want to do. And then when it folds, it'll look like that. It'll look like that. And I'll open up to that. Okay? This is from her kit that is called Neutrals. It's the newest kit. Neutrals, these are the papers. And then there's Neutrals that are, it's called Ephemera, and it's tags primarily. And this is the heart that we cut up to put in the center. Can you see that? All right. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then this is in her Rose Blush Kit. Gorgeousness. This flower is used on the cover with the sparkly fabric, and this flower is used in the back circle. The butterflies I put on the back of this one, here and here. And I also use this as a border here on this center part. So you can really use, you could find a space for this, you could find a space for this, whatever appeals to you. You can make a lot of use out of this paper. Okay, and this pocket I cut out of here. And these faux wax seals she has on the outside edge of so many of the sheets in her kits. I don't think I have any printed for you here. But on the corners of all the envelopes that are in the kits and all the irregular shaped things, she's got just a mass of beautiful faux wax seals. Even different colors. She's also got silver, and she's got the love one. And then for this piece, I cut out additional circles from one of her envelopes that that came in one of the kits. I think it was a floral affair also. And there's just quite a few of these. So I'm going to use these in the one I do today, just to kind of change it up a bit. And if you print some of her kits to a page at 5 times, 5 by 7, then you end up getting really tiny ones. So I like to change sizes up so that I can get a nice variety of options. All right, and then the cameo, the star of this left side in this newer one, also comes out of the Rose Blush kit. It was right there. Everything about this is phenomenal. There was another cameo right there. So you want to cut that out. And these are the tags. Now the important thing to tell you about the tags is that you want to print them, you want to set your printer to 8 by 10 paper and then print fit to frame. 8 by 10 fit to frame. Pick any tags you want for your large tags that are on the inside. Really important that they're not at full size. I know I'm talking US terms, but that's all I really know. So maybe over time I'll get the distinction for you, but I hope you can, bear with me because this is my first video here. Okay, so this width is 3 1/4, and these measure about 3 1/4. So it's really important that you don't go bigger. And this is 3 7/8 wide, and this is 3 7/8 wide. All right, and then to make the small tags, I do 2 different tag groups at 5 by 7 on one page, and that makes them just the right size. Sometimes you have to cut the bottoms off a bit, but I think I've overcome that problem. Although I think I still had to cut it a little bit. So you'll have to shorten them a little bit. And then your fabrics. So I used 2 different nettings. I used one like this for the front flower, and I used one that I coffee dyed for the inner flower. So I am going to get started. So this is what it looks like before it's cut. So I literally cut right on that line, and just cut it out. That's perfect. All right, then we're going to go to the middle, and we're going to prepare for the hearts. So I think I should tell you that I do not fold this trifold until the very, very end. It is the last thing, second to last thing that I do. And that's because I'm using 32-pound paper, and when you fold it, it just stays stiff. So then the whole time you're working on it, you're kind of batting down, the paper, and it's just, too much. So, but the main reason I don't fold it is because once you fold the papers together, you can never get all the edges to meet again, so that when you sew it, there's no white showing from either side. It's just not possible. Once you fold something, it'll never be perfect, and then you'll be cutting at the edges and so on and so forth. So since it's easier to work on a flat piece of paper, and since I don't want to have to trim, I don't do any folding, which, is up to you, what you want to do. But this is the center, and this, or inside, and this is going to go on the upper left. All right, that's how you know. So this is our heart, and in my piece, I have cut the rectangle. I believe it's 3, let me just measure again. It's 2 1/8 tall and 3 3/4, 3 7/8 wide. 3 7/8 wide, 2 1/8. 3 7/8 and 2 1/8. I need to write this down. 3 7/8 by 2 1/8. Now I did not, come up with that number. I looked at the design and sort of determined where I wanted it to end, and I wanted it to end right here. And then this one, I wanted it to be the same width as this one. So that's how I came up with it. You can do whatever you want, and if you're using a different paper, you might determine you want to end it somewhere else. I love this lace at the top, and so I wanted that to show, and I wanted to have some amount of background paper showing here. I didn't want to have the tips of the frame at the very base. So with that in mind, I placed it here. So let's see if I can replicate that, because I don't really remember how I did it exactly. Okay, I'm going to cut this in half just to get the big piece out of the way. And I know that I wanted to end here, right below this curl, I wanted to include the curl. So the curl that we're talking about is here. So I'm going to cut it right below this curl. And then you can be more arbitrary about the top. Okay, so let's just take another look. This ends right below the curl, and this will put me right below the curl. Alright, and then it has to be 3 7/8 wide and 2 1/8 tall. So 2 1/8 tall. Always a good idea to use the same ruler that you use for the original measurement. Okay, gonna go there. And I always use a pencil because I make so many mistakes, and I have a giant eraser near me at all times, a Magic Rub. It works well. Okay. All right. 2 1/8, and then this is the center, and it needs to be 3 7/8 long. Let me just put this in the middle. It's going to be a little less than 2. And 3 7/8 is here, so it's going to be here and here, here and here. I think it's really important to get this right, or it won't bend. So I'm being particularly careful. Normally I'm not like this, Normally I wouldn't have picked something so difficult on my first time with you. Okay, so I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to put this here. All right. Okay, good. That is correct. Okay. So now, where is it? Put this here. All right. Okay. There's always room for a little air, right? It's paper, it's glue, it folds. I find that creating is, fabulously de-stressing. And I find measuring very stressful. Or trying to aim for a really great outcome is one thing, but then trying so hard that you're doing everything painstaking, yeah, not me. So this just happens to be important to get really right. So if there's one or two things, it's not that big a deal. Well, this is actually, I'd say, a little bit smaller. So I'll just move my fold over a little bit more. I'll just fold this one in a little bit more, and I'll fold this one in a little bit more. No big deal. And that's why at the end, when I do the folding, I line up my ruler right at the edge of the paper. And that way the fold is right where it needs to be. So it's perfect. And then the other good thing about making this triangle, or rectangle, is that when I do the same size below, then I will have that straight fold on this side because they'll be equal. All right, so now to work on the one down here, we are at, I measure just a little bit below, so it's 1/4 of an inch below those feet. So 1/4 of an inch below the feet. 1/4 of an inch below the feet. Okay. Just looks smaller somehow. I don't know. I guess it's just because I've been working with it. Okay. All right. And then this will line up with this. So I'm just going to move this down like that. And then I'm going to draw around. And draw around. Okay. And then I'm going to cut okay. All right, so now we're going to have this at the top and this at the bottom. Yeah, looks good. Okay, And then where do I place this since I'm not going to fold it, right? So I use this ruler to go in 3 1/4. Three and a quarter. So that's one side. And same thing at the bottom. And then I'm going to go in 3 7/8 from the other side. If you want to distress, this is the time. I did not distress this one. Okay, and I'm using the art glitter glue, and I'm just going around the side so I can tuck the tag in if I want. Or you might have 2 tags and you can tuck, one on top of the other, and maybe the second one is shorter. But don't use a glue stick that takes up a whole lot of space on the side, because these are pretty tight. I mean, there's room, plenty of room for the tag, but if you started using up a bunch of space to put on with glue stick, I think you might have trouble. Okay, so there you go. One done. Okay, and then this, I learned a trick from Wendy early on in my junk journal making endeavor, and she said, always put your hand where you don't want to glue, and that way you can't make the mistake. And I've always remembered that, and it's come in so handy, because it's really easy for me to get my right and left, up and down confused. Okay. All right, and then we're going to put this here and there. Good. Okay. Good to go. And I didn't want to put the pocket thing in, because I feel like this is kind of, formal, sort of, I don't know, even royal looking. And I just felt the pocket was going to make it too, the pocket nook. I like pocket nooks. I just felt like this wasn't really a good pocket nook piece. Okay, so I don't know, this is just looking bigger. Is it just me? Okay, looks really good. Okay, there you go. Now we've got 2 things done. I had to write this down so that I wouldn't give you guys information out of order, because that's what I discovered when I made my 3rd one. This would be my 4th. I figured out a new way to do it, but it really changed up a lot of the original way I was doing it. Not for how it looks on the outcome, but how to put it together in the easiest way, because cutting through 32-pound paper that's layered up 3 times is hard. It's really hard. 32-pound paper is about 100 when you have 3 glued together. So I am making it easier on the hand, and then it's easier to get a more even oval. All right, so now we're going to glue the tag onto the inside of the sheet.